Everything, no matter how grand or glorious, must eventually decay. Entropy is a cosmic constant in the mortal realms, and it is Nurgle who embodies this perpetual truth. Characterized by a jolly temperament seemingly at odds with the filth and disease that are the tools of his trade, Nurgle is a creature of cycles. For that which rots will eventually sprout and spread new life in the form of molds, diseases, and maggots. His followers know him as Grandfather, and he welcomes his congregation with open arms, asking only that they share his gifts far and wide, eventually to infect all of reality with infernal pox. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Miniatures Tavern. My name is Watts, and today we're going to be deep diving into the Spearhead box for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. The Maggotkin of Nurgle Spearhead box is called Bleak Host, and the unit composition consists of one Spoilpox Scrivener, one Pusgoyle Blightlord, another Pusgoyle Blightlord, 5 Putrid Blight Kings, and a 2 5-man squad of Plague Bearers. You're looking at a total of 18 models coming in at 690 total points. Price for this box at the time of recording, you can snag this box from Games Workshop for $145. You can get it off of Amazon for $123.25, and you can grab it off of eBay for the same price of $123.25. If you are looking to pick up the box, as always, we ask that you check out our Amazon affiliate link down below. When you make a purchase using that link, it helps support us here at the channel, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. The Plague God's bleak host travels the length and breadth of the realms, ensuring his servants are spreading his virulent blessings. Under the strict command of their demonic leader, known as a Spoilpox Scrivener, they shamble into battle to overwhelm their foes, couched in clouds of flies and stench of decay. The tang of despair drives the swing of their weapons and widens their rictus grins ever further. Though the Spoilpox Scrivener is a harsh taskmaster, the tactics they employ are wickedly effective. Pusgoyle Blightlords are sent ahead to break enemy lines, scything through formations of foot soldiers as their rot flies drive disease, stingers, and fangs into any that dare approach. By the time these bloated behemoths are forced back, it is too late to stymie the shuffling waves of plague bearers. Each demon is nightmare vision of what awaits the victims of Nurgle's rot. Surrounded by swarms of insects and brandishing a sword ridden with supernaturally virulent diseases, along them march the Blight Kings, mortals swollen with the Grandfather's blessing. Each can withstand tremendous punishment to their corpulent forms while swinging weapons with enough strength to crush their foes utterly. The Spoilpox Scrivener hangs back to direct the heaving masses, but woe betide those who draw near, for they are struck down by the Tallymaster's destined maw. 7 strikes for 7 foes, bless them with disease and woes. Spoilpox Scrivener, Bloskus the Bloodless. So let's get to the good stuff, and let's jump into the battle traits and the regiment abilities for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Your battle traits: the Infectious Host. One of your Pusgoyle Blightlords and one of your Plague Bearer units are not set up during the deployment phase. Instead, from the 3rd battle round onwards, they can use the following ability: Demonic Summoning. Set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield more than 6 inches from all enemy units. So it looks like to start the battle, guys, in deployment, you're going to keep one of your Pusgoyle Blightlords and your Plague Bearer units, one of them, off the table, and they can come in from the 3rd battle round onwards. Your next battle trait is called Diseased, and that effect is each time an attack made by a friendly model scores a critical hit, you receive 1 disease point to a maximum of 7. That is a passive ability, so that's going to happen throughout the entire battle. And then finally, your last battle trait happens at the end of any turn, and that's called Nurgle's Embrace. The effect is you're going to spend any number of your disease points. For each disease point you spend, pick an enemy unit that is in combat with any of your units and roll a dice. On a 4-up, you're going to inflict 1 mortal damage on that unit. You can pick the same enemy unit more than once. So wow, this is pretty cool. End of any turn. If you're in combat with an enemy unit, you can get a maximum of 7 disease points. So for each disease point, you're going to roll a dice. On a 4-up, you're going to inflict 1 mortal wound. You can spread this out against multiple units, or it says here that you can pick the same enemy unit more than once. So pretty decent battle traits here. Let's take a look at the regiment abilities next, and you're going to pick one for the following regiment ability. You have a once per phase in your hero phase ability that is called Locus of Fecundity? Fecundity? I don't know. You guys, I am not a Maggotkin of Nurgle player. Let me know how to spell it phonetically in the comments below, or say it. You're going to pick a friendly unit, and that effect is you're going to heal D3 that unit. So you can do that once per phase in your hero phase. You have D3 heals for a unit, which is really nice. Anytime you have a unit that can heal, that is super, super effective and helpful in battles of Spearhead. You could pick that one, or you can pick the next one, which is called Infested with Wonders, and this is a passive ability, so this is active throughout the entire battle. The effect is each time a friendly model is slain, before it is removed from play, you can pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of it and roll a dice. On a 4-up, you can inflict 1 mortal damage on that unit. So it's kind of like fight on death, but you're not fighting. You're just going to roll a dice, and on a 4-up, you're going to inflict 1 mortal damage. This is each time a friendly model is slain. So it looks like if you have a unit of 5 Plague Bearers, if all 5 get wiped, that's 5 dice. So pretty good. You get one regiment ability that's passive and punchy, and then you get one that is heals, so it's defensive. So pretty decent balance there. Let's go ahead and move on to enhancement abilities. You're going to pick one of these for your general. Give your general one of the following enhancements. And you have 4 to choose from that pop off at different phases. So let's take a look at these. First up, at the end of any turn, that's when this is going to pop off, you have Summoner of Plague Bearers. You're going to pick a friendly Plague Bearers unit wholly within 14 inches of your general, and you can return 1 slain model to that unit. Next up, in your shooting phase, you have Pestilent Breath. You can pick an enemy unit within 7 inches of your general and roll a dice for each model in that unit. For each 5 up, you're going to inflict 1 mortal damage on that unit. Wow, that's pretty cool. Your other ability happens in your movement phase, the Gardener of Nurgle. If your general is contesting an objective not contested by any enemy models, roll a dice. On a 3-up, that objective is considered by you to be desecrated. Friendly units have a ward 4-up while they are contesting a desecrated objective. If your opponent gains control of a desecrated objective, it is no longer desecrated. So that's going to give you a little staying power and a little durability when you're taking objectives. And then finally, the last enhancement, this is a once per battle enhancement, and this can happen in any combat phase, whether it's your combat phase or your opponent's combat phase. And that is called the Gift of Febrile Frenzy. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly units while they are wholly within 7 inches of your general. So you got a nice combination here. You got some different synergies to work with. One of the things I love about Spearhead and playing games of Spearhead is that these enhancements that you can give your general are really the flavor of the army. So don't be afraid to try different ones while you play different games. And then as you develop your own play style and you develop how you like to play your army, hopefully one of these enhancements will synergize really well and complement all your models and really work well for you on the battlefield. So let's go ahead and jump into the War Scrolls. The Spoilpox Scrivener is first up. He has 5 health, he moves 4 inches, he has a 5-up save, and he has 2 control points. He has a ranged weapon called Disgusting Sneezes. It's got a 7-inch range, D6 attacks, which means you're going to roll a dice, whatever that dice says. Those are the number of attacks you get. You hit on 2s, you wound on 4s, 0 rend, 1 damage, but you can shoot in combat. Next up, he has a melee weapon called Distended Maw. He gets 3 attacks. He hits on 4s. He wounds on 3s. He has Rend 1, which is AP. Rend for Age of Sigmar is like AP armor penetration in 40k. And he has 2 damage. He also has an ability in your hero phase that you can use. It's called Keep Counting. I'm Watching You. You pick a friendly Plague Bearers unit wholly within 14 inches of this unit to be the target. You can pick one of the following. The effect lasts until the start of your next turn. Tally of blows. You're going to add 1 to the attack's characteristic of the target's melee weapons. Or you can pick Record Stamina and add 1 to the save rolls for the target unit. So that's pretty decent. This will pop off in your hero phase, every hero phase. So you could definitely choose which one you need at the time, you know. So that's pretty decent. You're going to get, you know, you're going to get +1 to attacks, or you're going to get +1 to saves, which is pretty nice. His keywords are hero, infantry, and ward 5. So he has a 5-up Feel No Pain. Ward in Age of Sigmar is like Feel No Pain in 40k. So that's pretty decent. Next up, we have the Pusgoyle Blight Lord. He has 8 health. He moves 8 inches. He saves on 4 ups, and he has 2 control points. His melee weapons are Blighted Scythe. He gets 3 attacks. He hits on 3s and wounds on 3s. He has 2 rend and 1 damage. And then his Rotfly gets to attack too. He's got Rotfly's mouth parts and sting, 6 attacks. Hitting on 4s, wounding on 2s, 0 rend, 1 damage, and he has a companion keyword, so that means that none of the bonuses or modifications or anything like that work on him. He's got the companion keyword. His ability is pops off in any charge phase. He's got Rack and Ruin. You're going to declare if this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch of it to be the target and roll a dice. On a 2-up, you're going to inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. Cool. That is a decent charge bonus. And his keywords are Cavalry, Fly, and Ward 5-up. So he has a 5-up Feel No Pain. He does fly, which means that he can be shot at any time. Remember, in Age of Sigmar, fly models cannot hide behind obstructing terrain. Fly models can't get no benefit of cover. Fly models can be attacked in and out of combat at all times. So be careful with these guys and just keep that in mind. Next up, we have the Putrid Blight Kings. They have 3 health. They move 4 inches. They have a 3-up save and 1 control point. They are armed with Blighted Weapon, which gets 4 attacks. It hits and wounds on 3s. It has 1 rend and 1 damage. No ability, so nothing special. But at the end of any turn, they do have this ability, Relentless Attackers. You're going to pick an enemy infantry unit in combat with this unit to be the target and roll a dice for each model in this unit that is within the target unit's combat range. And for each roll that exceeds the target's health characteristic, you're going to inflict 1 mortal damage on it. So that's pretty decent. And their keyword is infantry, and they have a 5-up ward. So far, the thread and themes of this army are that they deal a lot of mortals, and they have a 5-up ward. That's pretty solid. That's pretty decent. It's a decent spearhead box. And then finally, I believe this is the last unit, the Plague Bearers. They have 2 health. They move 4 inches. They have a 6-up save, so they could definitely benefit from one of those defensive abilities that you can give your general. And they have 1 control point. They are armed with Plague Sword. They get 1 attack each. They hit on 4s. They wound on 3. They have 0 rend. They do 1 damage, but here we go again, mortals. So it looks like the entire army deals mortals. That is pretty good. So if you're playing an army that doesn't have wards, they're going to be in trouble. One army that comes to mind is the Lumineth Realm Lords. Very few units for the Lumineth Realm Lords have wards, so they would be in trouble here. They have a passive ability called Cloud of Flies. The effect is subtract 1 from hit rolls for shooting attacks that target this unit. That's pretty neat. So they're kind of durable, and they make your opponent roll higher to hit them. That's pretty decent. Pretty good. So taking a look at all the units here, it looks like we got a ton of mortals. We've got durability. And we've got ward saves. It's pretty solid box. Pretty solid box for the amount of units that you get. And finally, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the SWOT analysis for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Now, for those of you new to the channel, as a computer person, I have developed an advanced language model that I use. I feed it all the rules for Spearhead and Combat Patrol, all the data cards, all the scenarios, the missions, and then I run questions and analysis against that database to kind of get a broader picture on how to play these armies, a simple way to play the armies. I look for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with the goal that I can help you guys become better players. So let's go ahead and take a look at the SWOT analysis for Maggotkin of Nurgle. Their strengths, let's start there. First of all, this army and this box is durable. The units, such as the Putrid Blight Kings and the Plague Bearers, have high resilience with ability like Ward 5 up, making them difficult to eliminate and allowing them to hold objectives effectively. Their next strength is mortal wound output, and I mentioned that earlier in the video. Abilities like Rack and Ruin from the Pusgoyle Blight Lords and Distended Maw from the Spoilpox Scrivener can deal mortal wounds, bypassing armor saves and making them lethal against tough opponents. Next strength is synergy with diseases. The army's theme of spreading diseases across enemy units adds constant pressure throughout the game, leading to a gradual attrition of enemy forces. And I'm going to throw in a bonus one, control and debuffing. Units like the Spoilpox Scrivener offer strategic control through abilities that boost allied attacks or save rolls, while enemies suffer from debuffs like Cloud of Flies, which reduces their effectiveness in ranged combat. Weaknesses for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. First, we have slow movement, with units like the Putrid Black Kings and the Plague Bearers having low movement speeds, 4 inches. The army may struggle to reposition quickly or to respond to fast-moving threats. Vulnerability to massed shootings. Despite the durability, concentrated firepower from enemies can still take down units before they can reach close combat. So just keep that in mind. And then finally, the third weakness is reliance on buffs. The army's effectiveness is heavily dependent on keeping key units like the Spoilpox Scrivener alive to provide necessary buffs and debuffs. Opportunities for the army. Number one is board control. The army's resilience and abilities to spread disease and debuffs make it well suited to controlling the board and securing objectives. A crucial aspect in Spearhead missions, 100%. Next opportunity is psychological warfare. The fearsome reputation and visual impact of Nurgle units can intimidate opponents, leading them to make suboptimal decisions on the battlefield. Pretty cool. So you're playing like a disease game and a mind game all at the same time. And then threats, there are not many. This is one of the only armies that the language model has ever produced only 2 threats. First threat is high mobility opponents. Armies with high mobility can outmaneuver the Maggotkin, picking off key units or avoiding combat altogether. And then finally, elite kill teams. Spearhead teams and boxes that are specialized, that can focus down key units or bypass the resilience of Nurgle forces with high damage weapons or mortal wound output may pose a significant threat. And finally, guys, this analysis highlights the Maggotkin of Nurgle's strengths in resilience and control, while also pointing out the potential challenges in mobility and vulnerability to concentrated firepower. Effective play will involve leveraging their durability and board control to outlast the opponent while managing weaknesses through strategic positioning and unit support. And there you go, guys. There you have it. The Maggotkin of Nurgle Spearhead. Thanks for tuning in so much. Tell me what you think. Do you play the Maggotkin of Nurgle? This is probably my wife's least favorite army in Age of Sigmar, just because she thinks they're gross. But I don't know, they're so gross they're cute, right? Let me know if you play this army. I've never played against this army. I don't know anyone who plays this army, so I would love to hear your experiences. If you are a Nurgle player, let me know in the comments. Are you thinking about picking up this box? Remember, if you are, please check out that Amazon link down in the description. You will help support us in making future content. We really appreciate that help and support. And if you have a suggestion for a future video, please drop it in the comments or send us a message and let me know. This Spearhead Force was recommended, so I was more than happy to make it for you guys. Once again, my name is Watts. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video.